just tell me what led you to write this book in the first place.
So it was a personal experience. I was a performing musician, classical musician, for a long time. I was a French hornist. I played piano before that. I sang in bands. I worked my way through college playing organ. That's what I did. I loved it. And I loved it enough that I actually did all my degrees in it. And I was out and I was gigging. And I mean, I got to do some really cool things. I got to tour Europe as a soloist. I got to play in Rome and in Amsterdam and in Budapest. And, I got to do things. My background, my mom was elementary teacher and housewife, and my dad was enlisted military. So it's not like there was a lot of money there. And if I was going to go do what I was doing, I needed to find another way to do it. And music allowed me to do that, not because there was a lot of money there, but because there was a lot of opportunity there. If you work really hard and you get good at what you're doing and you happen to have the right opportunities. And that's what it did. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I loved going where I went. I loved doing what I did. But being a gigging musician doesn't guarantee things like food, shelter, clothing, and benefits. So it finally hit a point where I needed to have a little more stable life. So I went back, got the doctorate, got a teaching degree to be a professor at a university. And I mean, just to set the stage, to be a French horn professor, a tenured French horn professor, the year that I won my job, there might have been like 12 in North America. It incredibly, they're so hard to get. And the ones that are there, you're almost waiting for someone to die, because once people get them, they're not leaving.
Yeah, I can imagine the stakes are incredibly high in the pressure.
Yeah. And for a job that doesn't really pay that well, it's strictly because you had better love it, because if you don't, there is no other reason to do it. If there isn't that much glory and there isn't money in it, so you better really love what you're doing. So I'm setting the stage on all of this because I did love it that much. And I went out, I got this job, and without my very first term there, I was assaulted by one of my colleagues. And I mean, realized that I didn't have any support. I didn't have family. I didn't have friends. I hadn't even been there long enough to, know different roads and where the best grocery store was and who's going to cut my hair, the stuff that happens after you do a cross-country move. And that was bad enough. I mean, something like that just shouldn't happen. The problem became worse, though, when I tried to work my way through the system. When I went to our boss, I was told that if I was stirring up trouble as a junior female faculty member in my first term, I might as well forget about tenure. And I mean, yeah, this guy had an office right next to mine. I wasn't worried about tenure. I was worried about coming into work, because that's what happened. He caught me unaware in my office. And when I went to the dean, which would have been the boss of the person I went to, she told me if I didn't like it there, I should leave. Didn't care. And I worked my way steadily through the system. But the thing that seemed to keep coming back is either people were like, I'm sorry, but I just can't help you. Or they were just like, nope, my job is to keep you quiet so that we just don't have a problem. And for the most part, beyond the initial actors, these weren't bad people. These were people that were just doing their job and trying to get by and trying to, get through to retirement. But they had been so beaten down by this system that empathy was just impossible. They couldn't connect with me because it was just beyond what their job would allow them to do. And I eventually had to leave, and I lost my whole career because of it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that, that you had to go through that experience, because that feels like multiple confrontations with such lack of empathy and lack of, there's the incident that you describe in the book and you just talked a little bit about. There's that wanting to going to the boss's boss, and some of it you're met with outright hostility in which you write about, which is absolutely disgusting. But it also seems like you're able to see that there are multiple different levels here of nuance, and people are locked in institutionally. It sounds like you're also evaluating or taking into account this system is failing you because it's failed a lot of other people in the process.